going back to Carolina with them at pick number 6 too. I'm fascinated by that just because of kind of the things we talked about, and you've already laid out the points of, crapshoot. Yeah, do we really believe that this guy's the guy, or are we going to do it just because we kind of need a quarterback and we got to appeal to our owner and the fan base? Carolina's fascinating to me. First off, Kenny Pickett, it sounds like he's going to be the guy that, they fancy. He's the most NFL ready. I understand that, but man, number 6 pick, Kenny Pickett, I just I don't see that. That doesn't sound right. And I'm never mad at a team for going in on the guy they want to go in on. But I really don't look at these guys as, in a traditional year, if it was a strong quarterback class, is looking at them going, these are top 10 picks. I don't. That's where the Saints thing that we talked about yesterday, just go, what? Are they really going to trade away 2 of these picks to go get one of these guys this year? I just don't think it's a class that warrants that, but yet we know how important the position is, and teams get desperate, and they do want to send a perception out to their fan base that sometimes they make these moves and they're not warranted.
And they can talk themselves into it.
Yeah,
you get
definitely.
into that echo chamber where they start saying, "Oh, he's got efficacy," and this is where it's important to have a front office that has different ideas, that has an atmosphere where people can freely speak up and communicate these ideas without being insulted, without being called stupid. You want to have a welcoming environment where everyone can bring to the table whatever they think, good, bad, or otherwise. You don't want to seal off the thinking in any organization. This applies anywhere and everywhere, but especially in a setting like this. You get locked onto the wrong guy, and you got a bunch of yes men and yes women in the organization saying, good idea, boss. Good idea, boss.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. And that's why
I worry about Carolina.
You know why?
Yeah.
I'm learning more about David Tepper. I mean,
Right.
David Tepper did not become one of the richest owners in sports, and Forbes just put out their list of the top 10 richest owners in all of sports, and there's only one NFL owner on it, and it's David Tepper. He didn't get that way by being a shrinking violet. He is a guy that gets what he wants. He's decisive, and I think he's got a force of personality. I had a story recently, and I can't tell the story without potentially outing my source, but it underscored for me that David Tepper is a type AA positive, take no prisoners, tell it like it is. This is my team. This is my decision. This is my way. And if you have that emanating from the top of the organization, and you make it clear, we are finding a quarterback.
Right.
We are getting a quarterback. Why couldn't we get Deshaun Watson? Why couldn't we get this guy? Why couldn't we get that guy? They're taking a quarterback. I'd be stunned if they don't take a quarterback.
It seems
because
that
he
way.
is so desperate to get a franchise quarterback. And if you fail, you'll be back there in a year or two to get another one because it doesn't cost you like it used to.
No, it doesn't. And like Scott Fitterer kind of said in that little, clip we showed earlier, you take your cuts or you take your swings until you hit, and that seems kind of be what they're doing. And I'm with you, Mike. As much as I look at it and go, I don't think they should take the quarterback there, I have the feeling or feel like they're going to do that for sure because of David Tepper, because of everything you're talking about. And then, you explained too, just as far as, yes, you have that kind of guy who's so adamant about it. You're right. The owner's adamant about the quarterback. He's going to get the answers he wants. And then out of the group we're talking about, I like Matt Corral the best. I do, hands down. Like, without a doubt, excites me the most, and I think can be the most talented in the NFL. Willis needs some work, but has a high ceiling and some big-time potential, but it's very backyardy football still, so that's got to be worked on. Pickett, like we talked about, well-schooled, all right, knows where to go with the ball. It's played in kind of a pro-style offense. All of that is really good, except there's nothing physically to go, wow, he could be a top-5 quarterback one day. And that's, to me, with the other issue with Carolina, when I think about Kenny Pickett going there at number 6, right? Because that seems to be the one that, most commonly gets linked, and I understand for a team that needs to win right now, Pickett's ready to go. But here's the thing that I would be concerned about if I'm in Carolina too, and you're going to draft Kenny Pickett. They're going to draft Kenny Pickett. They're going to go on the practice field for their first OTA, and they're going to go, oh my gosh, the guy we drafted at number 6, his arm's not as good as Sam Darnold's. It's not as a quicker release. He's actually not as quick as him in the pocket. His arm, and that's going to be a tough thing too. So that's not going to be the greatest look either. Like we've talked about before, when you want a guy to come in and start and play, you want him to be, the more talented guy, especially when he's a top 10 draft pick, to where like the locker room and everybody just goes, whoa, hey, man, team made the right pick there. You see that guy, what he was doing on the field today? That goes a long way. That would worry me if I'm in Carolina with this situation.
And let me just say this before we wrap it up, because this is an important aspect, even though it doesn't justify its own segment. There is an ugly, awkward PR mess unfolding for the Panthers right now as it relates to the construction of this gigantic headquarters and facility in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where the folks in Rock Hill didn't come through with some funding mechanism, $250 million in bonds that were supposed to be sold. And so David Tepper pulled the plug on construction. He's got a couple $100 million of steel in the ground that they have to pay him back for. He's, by all indications and appearances, just walking away from this. Screw it. You didn't live up to your end of the bargain. I'm out. I'm done. And that already is creating some very strong comments from some local politicians, and it is not going to bode well for the connection between community and team. They need something like a Kenny Pickett or a Malik Willis, a franchise quarterback, to turn the page on this, to get people to not pay as much attention to this mess that they have. It's another reason why these decisions get made by owners. And don't buy the idea that the owners aren't involved. I got a laugh out of it when Jimmy Haslam, the owner of the Browns, said last week that the Deshaun Watson decision was a football operations thing, not an ownership. That's a lie. They want to be able to blame it on someone else when it blows up in their face. It's an extension of the homeless guy told me to take Johnny Manziel. It's never the owner's decision because the owner needs to have someone else to blame. That's why I respect Jerry Jones. He's willing to take the heat for the bad decisions the Cowboys make.
Sure.
Everybody else, they got their finger in the stew. But when it all goes south, it's not their fault. It's nothing they did. They didn't make the decision, so they can blame it on somebody else. And I don't know that David Tepper can pull that off, because I think we've kind of figured out that Tepper's the guy who's driving the bus.
Right.
But remember that. When the owner acts like it's not on the owner, it's on the owner. The owner is not sitting back saying, hey, whatever you want to do is fine with me.
No, not with those type of decisions. You're right about that. If it's the third corner on the roster or a free agent, like, hey, we're looking for a nickel linebacker. Okay, yeah, the owner's not involved in that. But when it comes to the type of decisions you're talking about, no doubt about it. First round quarterback, paying a guy $230 million guaranteed. Oh, yeah, he had nothing to do with that, right? They just said, hey, Mr. Haslam, we're going to offer the greatest contract ever to a guy that's got issues. We don't need to really hear your opinion, okay? See you later. Yeah, right. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.